Season 4 Snarls of Lava is almost here, guys. It will be released on the 21st of this month, so definitely looking forward to it. In today's video, we're gonna have a breakdown of all of the new heroes coming to Dragonheir in Season 4, and my god, they do look freaking amazing. This video is brought to you by Dragonheir Silent Gods, so I just want to say a big thank you to them for sponsoring today's video. If you guys are new around here, new on the channel, and you haven't tried Dragonheir Silent Gods just yet, you can download the game by clicking the link in the description down below, or in the pinned comment, or by scanning the QR code you see on the screen, and come and join me in Dragonheir. Alistair might be a new one, actually. So he is the support for the fire element. When inflicting debuffs or control to enemies, the hero reduces their ultimate energy by 15%. When their ultimate energy is reduced to 0 by this effect, the hero obtains an extra 20% ultimate energy. With the battle skill, seems like we are gonna be able to land a stun and deal a bit of damage. And with the ultimate AoE, we are going to place recharge speed penalty and deal 720% attack fire damage. Pretty interesting, but he is a melee character. Not being ranged, he might not be the best option. He does have pretty beefy stats. A poison hero. The passive, when dealing damage to enemies, the hero has a chance of inflicting a stack of poison on them for 15 seconds. With the battle skill, strikes an enemy twice, each dealing poison damage, and the hero gains attack speed up. With the battle skill, the chance of inflicting poison through pilferage is increased to 100% for 10 seconds, then strikes the enemy 5 times. That's actually really nice. 5 times, very good for applying defense down, you know, with the artifact. So this is the second rare hero coming to the game. I'm pretty sure that they are new and they just don't look different in here. They are new. Then we have Haldi, which is new. He is a Thunderbolt rare hero. He looks pretty badass. Look at his belly. Bruv, stop drinking the beer. With a passive, whenever the hero is on the battlefield, grants accuracy up to all Thunderbolt allies. Okay. With a battle skill, deals damage to the enemy twice, each dealing damage with a chance of inflicting electrocuted for 5 seconds. And the ultimate, him being a melee character as well, grants enlightenment up to all Thunderbolt allies and deals attack and enlightenment derivative damage to nearby enemies, with a chance of inflicting electrocuted on them for 5 seconds. So he's going to be mainly an enabler for all of the other Thunderbolt, regardless if they're doing derivative damage, regardless if they're doing regular damage. So 4 per Kunte, basically. So there we go. Roberta, we have, if the hero possesses ice crystals, after releasing the battle skill, consumes a stack of ice crystal to release the battle skill again. Shoots 2 projectiles at the enemy, each dealing 150% attack or damage. The skill ignores 40% of the target's defense. If the hero consumes ice crystals, the projectiles will be enhanced, each dealing 180% attack cold damage, which is actually pretty nice. Then you have the ultimate skill, strikes the enemies within range 3 times, each dealing attack cold damage and with a chance to grant 1 stack of ice crystal to the hero. Damn! We have a Siphi here. We have a Ylandra, support necrosis. She looks badass. Look at that. And this is a rare hero, guys. She looks really amazing. So what do we have in terms of skills? Hopefully as good as the appearance. Damage taken reduces by 25% or reduced by 25%. The battle skill strikes the enemy twice, each dealing attack necrotic damage and heals the hero by 350% attack. Very nice for a battle skill. Is basically having lifesteal incorporated in your kit. And the ultimate moves to the enemy and strikes them 3 times. Each dealing attack necrotic damage, dispels 2 buffs from the enemy with a chance of inflicting buff prohibition. The skill prioritizes the enemy with the most buffs. Wow! This will be massive for the Grave of Curse. This will be massive for the Ancient Battlefield. Will be massive for any of the Chief Challenges that have rally heroes that will buff themselves, or other Chief Challenge bosses that will buff themselves. What an amazing rare hero, guys. Probably the best rare hero they've added since Season 2, I would say. Honestly, such an amazing rare hero. I cannot wait to play this character. And is a very good one to apply defense down to with the multi-hits. So we have 6 epics, guys. 2 of them that are not here are from the Feymander and the Pillar of Trials, but we're going to check them out as well. So we have Mera, a Necrosis one, a Summoner. You have Attack Aura in all battles. The passive summons a Phantom Eater to assist in the battle as the battle starts. The hero takes on 25% damage for the Phantom Eater, and when the hero gains a buff, the Phantom Eater also gains the same buff. Okay. This is at the beginning of the battle, okay. Now, can we bring this back if he dies? So with the battle skill, commands the Phantom Eater to attack the enemy with the highest attack, dealing attack necrotic damage to them and nearby enemies. Afterwards, the Phantom Eater will choose this enemy as the target to attack. If the Phantom Eater is dead, deals necrotic damage to the enemy with the highest attack instead. Okay, this is kind of like a snipe, like a Questa, but she's not gonna jump over like Questa does. She's just gonna hit the one with the highest attack, which is a pretty nice skill. Then you have the ultimate, grants attack up to the hero, deals necrotic damage to the enemy with the highest attack. The damage ignores 30% of the enemy's defense. The hero commands the Phantom Eater to deal attack damage to the current enemy, which ignores 30% of the target's defense. If the Phantom Eater is dead, summons another Phantom Eater at the enemy's location. Yes, this sounds like a solid epic character, guys. It will be very, very impactful for PvP, and it will definitely give you the edge on how to take down the nuker fast. Very solid one. I'm actually very impressed with the very first one. Plus, she looks freaking amazing. Beautiful. Then we have the next epic, a Poison Dino. Seems like another Gem Curse type of character. We have Enlightenment Aura. Basic attacks have a chance of inflicting poison for 15 seconds. Okay, that's nice. A good character that can apply poisons. The battle skill shoots 3 rows at the current enemy, each dealing attack damage to them with a chance of inflicting poison again. And this can be a 100% chance. And you have the ultimate. Shoots an arrow to deal damage. For every stack of poison on the enemy, the hero deals additional 20% attack derivative poison damage to them. After that, grants attack speed up for 10 seconds. This is a very nice epic hero as well. You're going to get good derivative damage from here. He's going to buff his own attack speed up. The basic skill will have a chance to inflict poison with the passive. I think he's a very solid one too. Wow, okay. So far, I actually like the epics. Very curious to see the legendaries, but the epics look look pretty badass so far, you know. Then we have Ashgar is a support for the fire element. Increases all allies' attack by 24% in all battles. When the hero tries to inflict debuffs or control effects to the enemies, yet the effects are resisted or invalidated, the hero instead gains a 15% HP max healing and has a chance to inflict fear on nearby enemies. This skill only takes effect once every 10 seconds, and this is a passive. It's a pretty good one. The battle skill deals fire damage to the target and nearby enemies with a chance of inflicting a recharge speed penalty on them for 5 seconds. After dealing damage, if the enemy's HP is lower than 60%, additionally reduces their ultimate energy by 20. I feel like we don't have many characters from the fire element that can put recharge speed penalty, so this is definitely more than welcome. The ultimate is gonna be an AoE by the looks of it. Deals attack and 10% max HP fire damage to enemies within range, with a chance to inflict taunt on them for 5 seconds. When successfully inflicting taunt, it has a chance to inflict attack penalty on them as well. Now, the problem with this is that you won't be able to taunt the bosses, so you won't be able to put attack penalty on them. So, very important to keep that in mind. This doesn't seem as great as the other two. Then we have another one from the fire element, a burn character. Seems like she's a bit of a statue. It's just like a visual bug. I am on a test server, right? So things can be a bit off. The passive, when dealing damage to enemies under burn, removes 3 stacks of burn from them and deals extra attack damage. This skill only takes effect to the same enemy once every 3 seconds. So basically, it activates the burn on the enemies. Now, this is 150 for 3 stacks. It's not really good. It's not really good to do that. Scatius will detonate 10 and will deal damage for each one of them. Or Arasis will detonate 10 and will deal damage for each one of them. So this either is worded incorrectly, either it removes 3 stacks to deal 150% attack damage. The battle skill shoots a bullet that can bounce up to 4 times, dealing damage with a chance to inflict 2 stacks of burn. Okay, so 2 stacks is actually awesome. Enemies under burn will be bounced and attacked first. The ultimate shoots 3 waves of bullets, each dealing damage, and when enemies hit are under burn, deals additional damage. But this doesn't have a chance to apply more burn, guys. Seems okay-ish. Okay-ish. The first 2 are my favorite so far. Then we have a support for the Radiance. My god, more support for this. We have so much support for the Radiance element. When successfully dispelling any debuffs, heals the ally with the currently lowest percentage of HP by 10%, targets max HP and Enlightenment. Okay. The battle skill deals radiant damage to enemies within range with a chance to dispel 1 buff from them. Not bad, but she's a melee hero as well. The ultimate dispels all debuffs from the ally with the highest attack and grants them debuff immunity and control immunity. Pretty decent-ish, but not that amazing. So I think she's a pretty underwhelming support, honestly. But she might end up in being really, really good with this passive and the ultimate, you know. Then we have one for the Dauntless, a lightning one. He looks pretty cool. We have attack aura for Series of Trials. We have basic attacks have a chance of triggering a double hit, and every extra 1% attack speed will be will increase the trigger chance by 0.2%. The total trigger chance is capped at 50. Wow! So you can have a 50% chance to do a double hit with the basic skill. All the Dauntless have only basic skills. This is actually crazy. He's gonna be such an amazing epic as well. I'm gonna love him on my epic team, guys. Because you know what? I don't actually have Ivelios or any of the big boy legendaries. He's going to be great for a lot of us. Then the battle skill strikes an enemy twice, each dealing lightning damage. This skill is regarded as a basic skill. Meanwhile, grants attack speed up to all Dauntless allies for 5 seconds. So I would assume this is for all of the team. Basic attacks have a chance to trigger 1 double hit. I don't think it's only for him, but it might be only for him. And then let me just kind of like reiterate what I just said. It might not be as great as I thought if it's only for him, but it's still going to be a nice Dauntless character so far. The ultimate strikes an enemy 4 times, each dealing lightning damage. This skill is regarded as a basic attack, and the subsequent 5 times of basic attacks are guaranteed to trigger double hits. Very nice. Very, very nice. So he seems to be a solid Dauntless epic hero. Support for the poison. Okay, let's see. When an ally takes an AoE damage, dispels 1 debuff from all of the allies. This skill only takes effect once every 5 seconds. This can be nice for the Vortex to dispel the defense down. This can be nice. Then you have the battle skill. Deals poison damage to the target with a chance to inflict silence on them. Not good for the Vortex or dungeons in general. And then the ultimate deals attack damage to enemies within range with a chance to dispel 1 buff from them. The hero also has a chance to inflict healing prohibition and buff prohibition. Okay, it really depends what we have in terms of dungeon bosses, because we haven't checked all that just yet. But I'm very curious to see if they really changed or no. And we are looking for one more epic that we are probably going to get from either the Pillar, either the Feymander. So we talked about Tarula, we talked about the rest of them. I feel like is Nadja, because we haven't talked about her just yet. Yeah, so probably is Nadja. Let's see. So she is an Ice Blast. Okay, an epic Ice Blast. Increases crit damage in all battles. Okay. So in all battles, all allies' crit damage is increased by 48. 48 crit damage is nice, guys, huh? That's actually very nice. I feel like this is some sort of an error by the looks of it. The passive, if the hero possesses ice crystals, of course, it will do the same thing like the rest. When possessing 3 and above stacks of ice crystal, skills release will have additional effects. Now, I'm not sure what that means just yet. With a battle skill, deals cold damage to the enemy. Every stack of Ice Blast of the hero increases the damage dealt by 10%. Additionally, deals 4% target's max HP cold damage, no more than 200% of the hero's attack. Okay. Who knows? She might be better than Gertin, guys. She might be better than Gertin. Now, she's not bringing her own buffs, but that actually sounds pretty nice. She could potentially bring in some nice damage. There we go. She's bringing attack up, actually, with the ultimate for 10 seconds. Throws an ice lance at an enemy to deal 600 attack cold damage to them and to nearby enemies. Upon hitting each enemy, the hero has a chance to obtain 1 stack of ice crystal. Okay. So that's pretty straightforward. I like this epic too. So we're definitely going to be able to build additional ice blast teams now. Instead of having 3, I'm going to have 4 now, which is great. I like the epic and the rare. Now we do have all of the new legendaries. So I am very curious to see what each one of them will do. I'm going to try to keep it nice and short, guys. So another support for the Radiance. You have a 3 damage for Arena. For every 15 times of damage dealt or taken by the hero and his clones, they will enter an undispellable invisibility for 3 seconds. A clone will be summoned at the same time. As the battle starts, gains invisibility and summons a clone up to 5 clones on the battlefield at the same time. Wow! 5 clones on himself on the battlefield at the same time. That's pretty crazy. The battle skill places a clone near the enemy with the highest attack, deals attack radiant damage to nearby enemies with the clone as the center, with a chance to taunt. Very similar with the summoner from the Necrosis element, right? And then you have the ultimate, jumps to the target and deals attack radiant damage to enemies within range with a chance to inflict attack penalty. Meanwhile, the hero gains attack speed up and enhances his basic attacks for 12 seconds. In this period, he will deal attack radiant damage to enemies twice and heal the hero and all clones by 5% max HP with all of the basic attacks. So he's going to be able to sustain himself and the clones really, really well. That's actually a pretty interesting legendary. Pretty interesting one. I'm curious how much damage he's actually going to do, though, because that's going to be important, but sounds pretty interesting on paper. Then we have Master Defense from the Lightning Element. You have HP Aura for Arena. You have the passive at the start of the battle grants Great Reaver's Favor to the ally with the highest crit damage. The ally under Great Reaver's Favor gains 10% max HP shield for 5 seconds when taking damage, and Master takes 60% of that damage instead. This effect only takes effect once every 12 seconds. Whenever taking damage for the ally, Master recharges his ultimate energy by 20 and has a chance to inflict taunt on the enemy with the most ultimate energy for 3 seconds. If Master's HP is higher than the enemy, the debuff inflicted cannot be resisted. Wow! That is actually really, really solid, guys. How many times you're going to be able to control El Cibri now with this champion? You're going to be able to taunt if you're going to give him more HP. You're not going to need accuracy, which is good because she has a lot of resistance. And if you're going to place your character at the front to quickly take damage, having a chance to instantly taunt them is going to be very, very nasty. I'm actually a massive fan of this tank for PvP. Super solid. The battle skill deals attack and max HP damage to the enemy with the most ultimate energy and reduces their ultimate energy by 20. If the enemy's ultimate energy is still higher than 50% after being reduced, there's a chance to inflict a stun. If his HP is higher than the enemy, the debuff inflicted cannot be resisted. I love this. I love that you don't need accuracy. He's such a good counter to El Cibri, guys. Unbelievable, actually. And she's one of the most annoying heroes in PvP. Afterwards, Master and the ally under Great Reaver's Favor will choose the enemy as the target to attack. And an ally attack on top of all that. Damn! He looked badass, but I was not expecting him to be as powerful. And then you have the ultimate. Strikes the enemy 3 times, with each strike dealing damage. The first strike has a chance to inflict attack penalty. The second, recharge speed penalty. The third, accuracy penalty. If the HP is higher than the target, you don't need accuracy. And grants control immunity and crit hit resistance for 10 seconds to all allies. So you cannot get crit hits. Increases the chance of resisting crit damage by 50%. Wow. That is actually interesting. And then, if the enemy is defeated or possesses 3 or more debuffs, he grants a shield to all allies under Great Reaver's favor. My god, he's going to be an absolute freaking monster. An absolute PvP monster, guys. And if we're talking about Fame Mender or Pillar of Trials again, but wow. Then we have Paxton. He's going to be a burn hero. He's one of my most favorite looking ones for this season, guys. He looks so freaking badass. Enlightenment Aura for Series of Trials. The passive deals fire damage to nearby enemies every 3 seconds with a chance to inflict burn on them for 10 seconds. When any target is inflicted with burn, the hero gains morale up to 20 stacks. So the morale, each stack of morale increases the attack by 1%. Then, when possessing 20 stacks, grants 20 stacks of morale to all burn allies. Okay, that's gonna be solid. Then you have the battle skill, and it doesn't seem to be dispellable or that expires either. So the team will have it forever. Then the battle skill deals attack and enlightenment damage to nearby enemies. When hitting enemies with burn, Nag's battle skill's recharge time is reduced by 50%, which will enable him to really rotate this skill much, much faster. And you have the ultimate, covering the entire map, deals fire attack damage to all enemies with a chance of inflicting burn for 10 seconds. When hitting enemies under burn, additionally deals attack derivative damage. So he could potentially be like a new burn Flora of some form. He seems pretty interesting. I'm not saying he's gonna be as insane as Flora, but he seems to be pretty damn interesting. I'm hoping to get this one. Then we have Halramar, support for the poison element. Love the design on this one too. You have a resistance aura for all battles. As the battle starts, summons Dark Cloud. Harlamar cannot gain extra attack speed, but Dark Cloud will launch additional attacks following Harlamar's basic attacks. Dark Cloud has a 10% chance to inflict buff prohibition on enemies for 5 seconds. The chance of inflicting buff prohibition by Dark Cloud depends on Harlamar's resistance. Every time resistance increases the chance by 1%. When Harlamar is on the battlefield, enemies' ultimate energy obtained through skills and artifacts will be reduced by 80%. Ooh, this is going to be a very solid counter to the Rift Hourglass, for example, guys. So this is a pretty interesting passive. The battle skill commands Dark Cloud to deal damage to the enemy with the highest attack, with a chance to inflict attack penalty on them for 5 seconds, and a chance to inflict oriented taunt on them for 3 seconds, which basically will force them to launch basic attacks on the enemy with the highest max HP. That's an interesting new debuff. Seems like they're really prioritizing having characters dealing with the highest attack enemy, basically with their damage dealer, which is a pretty interesting thing. Then you have the ultimate, deals attack poison damage to all enemies with a chance to inflict recharge speed penalty, and oriented charm forces the target to launch basic attacks on the ally with the lowest max HP. Ooh, so basically to kill their own nuker, their own damage. That's a nice one. Enemies' ultimate energy will be reduced by 20%. Again, a very solid tank, guys. The next one is another aura character for the Radiance element, Shakla. You have attack aura for all battles. The passive is just the standard thing. You know she's going to enter the blaze when she has enough aura energy. The allies consume aura energy, recharges 5% ultimate energy, and grants 1 stack of crit damage up to the aura ally with the most attack, and herself up to 20 stacks. This effect can only be triggered once every 5 seconds, but it seems like this effect does not expire either. So that's good. Then you have the battle skill. Gains aura energy and deals radiant damage to the enemy and the nearby enemies. The hero gains extra 10 aura energy when hitting only one enemy. While in the blaze state, consumes 5 aura energy and deals additional targets max HP radiant damage, no more than 200% of her attack. And the ultimate gains 30 aura energy and releases an energy wave that can bounce between enemies up to 4 times. Each bounce deals attack radiant damage to them. If the energy wave does not bounce after being released, 40% of the consumed ultimate energy will be returned. While in the blaze state, consumes 20 aura energy to deal 5% targets max HP, and the number of bounces is increased to 6 times. Okay, seems pretty interesting. Now, Aura in general is not OP. It's kind of like at a decent, mediocre place. They can get the job done. They can get you top chest on the Vortex. They can do 22 plus million on the Chief challenges, but they're not doing anything spectacular. She seems pretty interesting though. Then we have Orphina, a new Thunderbolt. She has an Enlightenment aura for all battles. The passive, when dealing damage to enemies with basic attacks, there's a chance to refresh their electrocuted and launch Thunderbolt at them once. Now, I'm not really sure what they mean with refresh. If basically kind of like increasing the cooldown on it, it might be the thing. The battle skill strikes the enemy 3 times, each dealing damage, and has a chance to inflict electrocuted on them for 6 seconds. When enemies under electrocuted, when hitting enemies that are under electrocuted, this damage ignores 30% of their defense. There is a bit of a misspell in here, but don't you worry, Skratch got you covered. Then the ultimate enters Overload state and gains attack speed up. While in the Overload state, basic attacks can shoot 2 extra bullets to deal extra damage and will prioritize different targets with each bullet. Sounds interesting as an activator for Perkunte. I thought that maybe she's gonna make Perkunte a bit better, but it seems like it's nothing too crazy. Then we have Perseus from the Necrosis element. You have a HP aura in all battles. He's a support. The passive, basic attacks deal damage twice. When dealing damage to enemies with skills, there's a chance of inflicting Fallen Poison up to 30 times. Fallen Poison basically will put a stack of decreased attack and attack speed up. So that's nice. You can put a lot of stacks on the enemies. Then you have the battle skill, deals attack damage to nearby enemies 4 times and reduces their ultimate energy by 25%. Is that with each hit? So you're reducing it by 100%? If that's the case, that's going to be freaking broken. If you reduce their ultimate energy completely, like, that's very, very crazy. Then you have the ultimate skill. Rushes to an enemy and strikes them 12 times. 12 times, Jesus. Each dealing 70 attack necrotic damage, there's a chance to dispel all buffs from them, with a chance to inflict stun, and a chance to inflict buff prohibition. The hero gains 30% max HP healing simultaneously. The enemy's HP limit will be reduced by 20% of the damage dealt, no more than 40 of the enemy's max HP. This is invalid for bosses. So you're basically gonna break some of the HP. The enemy with the highest attack will be attacked first. That sounds pretty interesting, but damn, 12 hits. 12 freaking hits. Can you imagine him just going bang, 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 bang? I'm actually looking forward to see the animation because he does have 4 hands, right? So it's gonna be a pretty interesting one. Then we have one of my favorite ones, and this is Feliciberta, support for the ice element. You have an attack aura for Arena. You have the battle skill, or the passive, sorry. As the battle starts, inflicts a Datura mark on the enemy with the highest attack. When the enemy under Datura mark dies, reselects a new target. When enemies under Datura mark gains a buff, reduces the recharge time of the hero's battle skill by 20%, and the hero recharge ultimate energy by 20. This skill only takes effect once every 5 seconds. So basically, she's going to be able to gain a lot of ultimate energy and battle skill energy with this. With the battle skill, moves to the enemy with the highest attack. I'm telling you, they really pushed all this highest attack this time around. Removes their shield and steals 1 buff from them, dealing attack and enlightenment damage. This skill ignores 50% of the enemy's resistance. When hitting enemies under frozen, the hero steals their shield instead of removing it. Okay. And the ultimate, a very small AoE, deals attack and enlightenment damage to enemies within range with a chance to inflict frozen for 5 seconds. The effect ignores 20% of the enemy's resistance. The frozen inflicted by this skill also blocks the enemies from resurrection upon their death. So basically, you're getting block revive. She doesn't sound very impressive to me. I'll be very honest with you guys. It seems like her cooldown as well is long, 14 and 24 seconds. She looks amazing, but I'm really not a fan of her kit. I'm not feeling it too much. Like, yeah, she can be great for PvP in some cases, but I don't know. I want to see more spectacular things for PvP. Enlightenment and attack damage is very hard to kind of like get a lot of value out of them and to build them with a lot of crit rate and crit damage, etc., to really get the most out of it. So that's my main complaint about it. Then we have Mash Stun, a burn, attack aura for arena. The passive, my god, these passives are so long. Deals attack fire damage to all enemies as the battle starts, with a chance to inflict 3 stacks of burn for 10 seconds. When burn inflicted on any enemy expires or is dispelled, the hero gains a stack of Sparkable up to 30 stacks. For each stack, the hero gains 0.5% damage reduction, while the hero skill ignores 3% of the target's defense. There's a 60% chance for basic attacks to inflict burn. So, okay, I thought that Sparkable will basically show us what it does, but seems like they've put from mistake twice what the burn does. Then the battle skill. The hero gains max HP healing. The enemy who possesses the most stacks of burn grants the same amount of sparkle to the hero, up to 5 stacks. Then the hero deals 500 attack fire damage to the enemy with the most stacks of burn. Pretty interesting. It's nice that he can heal himself. And with the ultimate, deals attack fire damage to nearby enemies. If enemies are under burn, the hero additionally gains attack up for 10 seconds. The burn inflicted by fire in stone ignores resistance in the next 15 seconds. Now, what exactly is fire in stone? Is the passive. Okay, so the passive. So you are ignoring some of the resistance, which is nice. That's actually pretty dope. Sounds like an interesting burn activator, especially with that passive. So I think she can be a pretty badass hero. Then they look pretty similar. Then we have Astion, support for the necrosis element. Please be a very good healer. We have a defense aura for arena. As the battle starts, the hero has a chance to inflict silence for 10 seconds on the nearest enemy and steals 30% of their HP and 30% of their defense. Okay, 50% of the stolen attributes will be transferred to the ally with the highest attack. HP stolen should not exceed 100% of the hero's max HP. She sounds pretty nasty with this passive though. The battle skill, straight line, deals attack necrotic damage to enemies within range with a chance to inflict stun and grants crit hit resistance to the ally with the highest attack. The hero recharges ultimate energy by 5% upon hitting one enemy. So the more enemies you're hitting, the more ultimate energy you are recharging. And you have the ultimate skill. AoE damage summons a domain that lasts for 10 seconds at a location, dealing 60% attack necrotic damage to enemies within range every 1 second. And then you have a healing on all of your allies by 3.5% max HP simultaneously every 1 second. Now I'm curious if this is for every enemy hit or just in general, if it's like Zarlot or no. When enemies within range gain a buff, there's a 40% chance to replace the buff with a random debuff. That's actually pretty interesting. You have attack penalty, buff prohibition, recharge speed penalty, and healing reduction. But they need to earn buffs in order for this to proc. Pretty interesting. You're getting debuffs, you're getting support, you're getting a nasty passive. I actually like her. And we have Miro, another Ice Blast character. Let's go. What do we have from Miro? He loves getting high with his own supply. If the hero possesses ice crystals as usual, he's gonna use the battle skill again. When attacking enemies, every stack of map pin, the wearer takes an extra 20% crit damage of Miro's damage up to 5 stacks, okay? Grants the current attack extra 20% crit damage. When attacking enemies with full stacks of map pin, ignores 60% of their defense. That's actually pretty nasty. Now, what does it mean full pin though? What does it mean to have full pin? The hero's basic attack will attack enemies with the most map pin first. So I guess you're gonna put stacks every time on them. The battle skill deals 300% attack cold damage to the enemy and inflicts a stack of map pin on them. And the ultimate deals 800 10% attack cold damage to the enemy and converts 25% of the damage dealt to the hero's HP. Every stack of map pin on the enemy increases the conversion ratio by 5%. Seems like he's gonna be able to put in some some serious work, and he has a very good cooldown on his ultimate skill as well, guys. But that's all for all of the new heroes coming to Dragonheir Silent Gods in Season 4. Thanks again to Dragonheir for sponsoring today's video, and if you guys want to get involved, head over to the link in the description down below or in the pinned comment, or scan the QR code you see on the screen to download Dragonheir Silent Gods now. And if you guys want to check out the new guaranteed legendary hero coming in Season 4, click on this video right here.